Good afternoon, saints, and welcome to our 12 noon, our afternoon Bible study as we continue the study of the book of Daniel. And today we're going to be looking at Daniel chapter 10, entitled Daniel's Vision of a Messenger. Let's bow our heads in prayer. O Lord, grant us wisdom, grant us understanding, and grant us application to daily living. And dear Lord, I pray that you would grant me accuracy of interpretation and clarity of speech. In Jesus' holy name, amen. Well, saints, what's the background to Daniel chapter 10? Well, this is Daniel's final vision, believed to be recorded around 536 BC. In it, Daniel was given further insight into the great spiritual battle between God's people and those who want to destroy them. This is spiritual. Remember, saints, that the things we see in front of our eyes in the temporal are actually a reflection or a symptom of what's going on in the supernatural. Also, prior to this vision, Cyrus, who was the king of Persia, allowed the Jews to return to Jerusalem. This was under Zerubbabel. But Daniel stayed in Babylon. Why did Daniel stay? Well, we really don't know. We can speculate and say that, well, maybe he was too old to make the long, hazardous journey. At this time, he was over 80 years old. Or government duties could have prevented him. He couldn't leave. Or God may have told him to stay behind to complete the work God had called him to do in Babylon. In either case, we don't really know. But let's read through the text and get an understanding as best we can. It reads, in the third year of the reign of King Cyrus of Persia, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, a modern translation. Daniel, also known as Belteshazzar, had another vision. This was his final vision. It concerned events certain to happen in the future, meaning times of war and great hardship. And Daniel understood what the vision meant. Verse 2. When this vision came to me, Daniel writes, I, Daniel, had been in mourning for 3 weeks. He's still mourning over Jerusalem. 3. At that time I had eaten no rich food or meat, had drunk no wine, and had used no fragrant oils. See, here we see Daniel refrain from eating choice foods and using oils because these were signs of feasting and rejoicing, not signs of when we not when we are in the process of denying ourselves. During this time, he was fasting. You don't eat. And verses 4, on April 23rd, which was also known as the 24th day of the first month, as I was standing beside the great Tigris River. Now remember, Daniel is having a vision. I looked up and saw a man dressed in linen clothing with a belt of pure gold around his waist. His body looked like a dazzling gem. From his face came flashes like lightning, and his eyes were like flaming torches. His hands and feet shone like polished bronze, and his voice was like the roaring of a vast multitude of people. My goodness, this was quite a vision. We see here that the man seen by Daniel was not just a man. It was a heavenly being. Now, there's some disagreement on who this heavenly being was. Some commentators believe that this being was an appearance of Christ, a post-time, post-appearing of Christ before he came in the flesh. Well, others think it was an angel. Why? Because we will read later in verse 13 that this man required the help of Michael. And if it had been Jesus, he wouldn't need any help. In either case, Daniel caught a glimpse of the battle between good and evil, supernatural powers. Once again, the things we see on and here on earth are a reflection of or a symptom of what's going on outside, things we can't see. And he says, just then a hand touched me and lifted me up, still trembling, to my hands and knees. And he said to me, O Daniel, greatly loved of God, listen carefully to what I have to say to you. Stand up, for I have been sent to you. And when he said this to me, I stood up, still trembling with fear. Who of us would not be? 12. Then he said, don't be afraid, Daniel, since the days you began to pray for understanding and humble yourself before your God, your request has been heard in heaven. I have come in answer to your prayers. But for 21 days, the spirit prince of the kingdom of Persia blocked my way. This is some kind of evil being, once again, saints. Then Michael, one of the archangels, came to me and left him there with the spirit prince of the kingdom of Persia. Now I am here to explain what was to happen to your people in the future, for this vision concerned a time yet to come. While he was speaking to me, I looked down at the ground, unable to say a word. Then the man who looked like a man touched my lips and opened my mouth, and I began to speak. I said to the one standing in front of me, I am terrified by the vision I have seen, my Lord, and am very weak. How can someone like me, your servant, talk to you, my Lord? My strength is gone, and I can hardly breathe. In verse 18, then the one who looked like a man touched me again, and I felt my strength recording. Well, here, saints, we see Daniel was frightened by this vision, but the messenger reassured him. Daniel lost his speech, but the messenger's touch restored it. Daniel felt weak and helpless, but the messenger's words strengthened him. God can bring us healing when we are hurt, peace when we are troubled, and strength when we are weak. Trust God to mentor to you as he did to Daniel. So that is the lesson, one of the first lessons from this class session. Trust in God, saints, especially when it seems like there's nothing more you can do or anyone else can. God always has a ram in the bush. Amen. And then moving on. Oh, it says here, although God sent a messenger to Daniel, which was a powerful spiritual being, the spirit prince of the kingdom of Persia, detained the messenger for three weeks. After Daniel faithfully continued praying and fasting, and God's messengers eventually arrived, assisted by Michael, the archangel, answers to our prayers may be hindered by unseen obstacles. That's another lesson. Don't expect God's answers to come too easily or too quickly. That's another lesson. And finally, prayer may be challenged by evil forces, so pray in it fervently and earnestly. Then Jesus expected God to answer at the right time, knowing that he will answer. Amen. Amen. So now, verse 19. Don't be afraid, he said, for you are deeply loved by God. Be at peace and take heart and be strong. And as he spoke these words, I suddenly felt stronger and said to him, now you make me speak, my Lord, for you have strengthened me. And he replied, do you know why I have come? Soon I must return to fight against the spirit prince of the kingdom of Persia, and then against the spirit prince of the kingdom of Greece. These evidently were nations where demons were running those leaders. But before I do that, I will tell you what is written in the book of life. There is no one to help me against these spiritual princes like Michael and your spirit prince. I have been standing beside Michael as his support and defense ever since the first day of the reign of Darius the Mede. So, saints, in these final verses, 21 and 23, we see the heavenly warfare which was directed against Persia and then against Greece. Each of these nations was to have power over God's people. Both Persia and Greece were transported by evil spirit princes or demons. But God is in control of the past, the present, and the future, and he has all events recorded in his book of truth. So, saints, that's our lesson for today, looking at Daniel chapter 10. Be sure to for a personal plug, be sure to spend some time with us tonight at 7 o'clock at St. Paul Lutheran Church and Day School. You'd really enjoy it, and I pray you were able to come with us tonight. Begins at 6. We're normally done at 7, no later than 7:30. Then a week from the day, of course, we continue to have our noon Bible study, and that starts at 2 o'clock. And then we have, that starts at 12 noon. And then on Sunday, we'll have our regular class program. And so we give thanks to the Lord for all he's done for us. We just thank you in Jesus' holy name. God bless you, and see you next week. We'll see you the weekend. Amen.